Before we actually get started on our journey, would you just drop in the chat window where you are living today? Where are you coming from? What city or state? I'm going to put mine in there first. I am coming today from North Carolina. So North Carolina. Oh, can you read some of those out, Heather?
Absolutely. We have a lot. Connecticut and Texas, North Carolina, New Jersey. Oh, a lot of New Jersey. Oh, Arizona, wonderful. And I always love that name, Surprise, Arizona. Texas.
I thought she was just saying it's a surprise and she couldn't tell us where they were from in Arizona.
Tennessee. There are so many different states, so many different places joining us today.
Well, we are thrilled that you're here. And as you can see by the background and by the little friends I have over here, we're probably going to be talking about animals today. I do want to share one book, though, with your teacher. This is one of my favorite books. It's called The Beak Book by Robin Page. And I'm going to encourage your teachers to look this book up. This is going to be a great one for you to read, learn about adaptations and habitats. But today it's all about endangered animals. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go. So we're going to be talking about habitats today. So these are going to be aquatic habitats and terrestrial habitats. So I want you to think where you live. Are there aquatic habitats near you? Do you have ponds or lakes or oceans? Do you live in an area that has grasslands or desert? Or maybe you live near a rainforest or an actual forest? I want to encourage your teachers that after today's event, you can create your own events by just logging into Define Learning, and up in that right-hand corner, there's this beautiful search bar, and you can type in anything that you're teaching in the classroom and then just click enter, and you're going to find 1,200 plus amazing tasks and real-world experiences for your students so that they can get involved in changing the world. So let me ask you a question. What do you think endangered species means? Is there anyone that's out there that would like to maybe unmute their microphone and come to their teacher's camera and maybe tell us what an endangered species is? Heather, it looks like we've got some hands up. I will let the first teacher that unmutes share with us if there's any students that might want to define endangered species. Oh, I see one.
Jordan.
Endangered species are species that are almost extinct, that are trying to stay alive before their kind disappears.
Wow. Are you an author? Are you a scientist? Do you write books? Because that is exactly, if we go next to my next slide, let's see what it says and see if you were correct. Yes, it's a species of plant or animal, and the numbers of these plants and animals are decreasing. Now, not just like 1 or 2 a year, they are decreasing at an alarming rate, which means that if we don't do something about it, they're going to be extinct. And there's a couple reasons that happens. Some of those are human-made or natural changes in an environment. So thank you so much for that great definition. We want to see if you have researched any endangered animals in your neck of the woods. So again, we're going to ask you to unmute if you would like to share any endangered animals that live near you, and Miss Heather will call on some of you.
I'm looking for some hands up.
And let me rephrase the question. It doesn't have to be an endangered animal around you if you haven't found any. It could just be an endangered animal. That might change it a little bit. Okay.
Rudy.
Some endangered animals are the Bombus occidentals, the dehiscence flower-loving fly, and the Jaran rhinoceros.
So that's giving me all the smiles right now. I know it is Heather too, because it looks like you've done some research because you had a list of these. Who else, Heather?
Someone in, is it Ms. Lekowitz class? I see your hand up on the screen.
Go ahead. Yeah.
A Komodo dragon. And a wolverine. It's like a type of animal. A white lion. A white tiger.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I know one.
And there's
And Miss
another one.
Sedbauer's room.
Oh, that's Florida panther.
A Florida panther. So I'm assuming that you guys might live in Florida?
No. We're in New
No,
Jersey.
but you just know about them. Excellent.
Miss Tripati's room. Do you have someone?
I do. Go ahead, Jacob.
Manatees and monarch butterflies.
Wow, that's a great one. And they both start with M's, which is kind of interesting. Let's do two more, Miss Heather.
Great. How about from, is it Ms. or Mr. Harris's room?
What's that? Come on, over here. What is it? Allie. Oh, it's Allie. Come on.
A red hill A red hill salamander.
Yes, and so that's very interesting because some of those are endangered in some of our national parks. So those are something that we're really trying hard to take care of. Boy, the hands are just crazy, which means we're gonna maybe do one more for this time, but then we'll come back and ask for some more. So Miss Heather, maybe one more?
Absolutely. Thank you for waiting in Ms. Kugman's classroom. Thank you.
Go ahead, RJ.
An Arctic fox.
An Arctic fox, and those are really cool because they have a specific color that has them blend in with their habitat. So hold on to the rest of those ideas because we're going to come back in just a little bit. See, I was silly and I thought I was going to stump you on this one and just say, name some endangered animals, and you'd be going, oh, I don't know any, but I'm so excited that you've done some research on this. So let's go ahead and work on our task for today. So we're going to tie all of our learning today to the global goals. Now, a lot of you have worked with us before, so you know that these are 17 problems that the world is facing, and we need to work together to try to solve those. So today is going to be life on land. So it's going to be any kind of animal that lives on land. Now, I don't want to leave out my animals that live underwater, so we will encourage you to list those too. But here is your goal. Your goal is that you're going to work with animals that are in danger of becoming extinct, which means there's not a lot of them left. And that is what you're thinking in your head right now. My goal is to make sure that animals do not become extinct. The role that you're going to play is you're going to identify any endangered animals in your area, and then you're going to help to relocate them, or if they're hurt or in danger, you're going to rehabilitate them, which means you're going to make them feel better. You're going to do something that's going to improve their health. And your audience is going to be very, very cool. You're going to be working with the World Wildlife Fund. So this organization is a global organization that does great things with trying to make sure that animals are not extinct. If you research the World Wildlife Fund, you're going to find out that they've done some amazing work already. And some animals that were in danger of becoming extinct are no longer around, are now not even endangered anymore. So that's going to be some of your audience. You're also going to work with your colleagues. And for this event, your colleagues are going to be the people in your classroom that are also taking on this role. And then you're going to do some research with some animal scientists. So I would suggest that you reach out to people like Philippe Cousteau, who is the great grandson of Jacques Cousteau. You can also reach out to Jane Goodall. Your teachers can find them on social media and get some advice from them. You can also check with people in your community like veterinarians or refuge workers or wildlife rehabilitators or zookeepers, because we're not just going to solve the problem. We're going to be in the middle of it so that we can learn about it as we solve it. So this is a lot of words on the screen. So let me just give you an idea of what you're going to do. If we don't take care of our world right now and save the wildlife around the globe, then we are going to be in danger of losing many species that are very important to us. We need to remember that their well-being also links to our well-being. For example, we work with rainforests around the world. Did you know that most of our food and medicines and new ideas come from the rainforest? So we want to think about what can we do to protect these habitats and make them robust again, which means make them healthy again, because I don't want to lose the Florida panthers, and I don't want to lose those little red tail salamanders or those monarch butterflies. We want to make sure, or the Arctic fox even, we want to make sure that we're taking care of those. So we're getting ready to watch a video, and we're going to talk about how our human impact is causing loss of habitat for these animals. And remember, if we lose the habitat, if we tear down homes for these animals, they're not going to have a place to live and they're not going to stay alive. So let's take a look. Hey everyone, this is Dr. Drizzle, and welcome to On Demand STEM, hosted by Define Learning. Today we're going to talk about habitats and how they get destroyed and what we can do to recreate them. We're standing in Washington, D.C., right on the tidal basin with the beautiful Washington Monument in the back. So what is an endangered species? An endangered species is a type of organism that is threatened by extinction. Species become endangered for several reasons. One is loss of habitat. A loss of habitat can happen naturally, but habitat loss due to destruction or degradation of habitat is the primary threat to the survival of wildlife in the United States. When an ecosystem has been dramatically changed by human activities, such as agriculture, oil and gas exploration, commercial development, or water loss, it may no longer be able to provide the food, water, cover, and places to raise young that wildlife need to survive. Every day, there are fewer places left that wildlife can call home. Human activity can also contribute to a loss of habitat. Development for housing, industry, and agriculture reduces the habitat of native organisms. This can happen in a number of different ways. First, habitat destruction. A bulldozer pushing down trees is the iconic image of habitat destruction. Other ways people directly destroy habitat include filling in wetlands, dredging rivers, mowing fields, and cutting down trees. And secondly, habitat degradation, pollution, invasive species, and disruption of ecosystem processes, such as changing the intensity of fires in an ecosystem, are some of the ways habitats can become so degraded they no longer support native wildlife. So what can you do? Tell your family and friends to clean their shoes before going on a hike, especially in a new place. The mud caked in your sneakers may contain seeds of invasive plants, which can push out native plants that keep the ecosystem healthy. Visit parks, wildlife refuges, parks, bird sanctuaries, and nature preserves are more likely to receive funding to stay open when more people visit them. And today we're going to talk about creating a habitat near your home, school, or business. Plant native plants and put out a water source so that you can provide the food, water, cover, and places to raise young that wildlife need to survive. So are you ready? Let's get started. So I made a few notes on this, and I remember that third thing when I heard it again. So we're going to ask you to think about ways that you can create a habitat in your area that's going to help animals live longer. Before we get started, though, I want to introduce you to a few careers. So you could become a wildlife manager, a wildlife biologist, or a wildlife educator. All three of these careers are working on educating the public and saving animals. You could also be someone that's in the public eye, which talks about how you can be part of the solution to the problem. You might work with landowners or industries. If you love working in law enforcement, we even have wildlife law enforcement officers. And these are people that enforce those rules to make sure that animals are not being killed. And then the last career, but not the only career, but one that I thought was really cool, is someone that gets on social media a lot and shares information about the different animals out there that are in danger, and they encourage people to try and save them. So here is your task, and I can't wait to get started with you. Sometimes endangered species need to be relocated to save them. Now, I don't want you to do this on your own, but after you've researched an endangered animal, I want you to reach out to someone who may work with that animal and decide how could you build a new habitat that you could move to a different place so that the animals are not endangered. For example, I live in North Carolina, and on the coast of North Carolina, we have a very famous lighthouse called Cape Hatteras Lighthouse. About 25 or 30 years ago, this lighthouse was endangered itself because the water was coming up on the shore and it was eroding the different areas. So they had to actually move that lighthouse. Well, when they moved the lighthouse, they realized that there was sea life embedded underneath the lighthouse, and there were also birds that were nesting in the lighthouse. So the engineers moved the lighthouse, but concerned citizens around the area came up with plans to relocate those sea turtle eggs and those bird eggs to make sure that they lived. I want you to think about a design for your habitat and make sure where would you suggest you move the new habitat? Because if it's living in one ecosystem, but that part is being destroyed, you don't want to move it to a new ecosystem because it wouldn't be able to survive there. So let's come back to me for just a moment. I have a couple of animals here with me that are endangered. So we have the Mariki monkeys, which are in Brazil. And these monkeys are being endangered by human impact. People are there chopping all the trees down to build houses and to build developments. And when they chop down the trees, they're chopping down their home. We also have a gorilla that lives in Tanzania. And this gorilla is being hunted. So it's not to provide new housing, it's just people are trying to kill it. And then we have this little guy. So this is a pika, and it lives in the mountains in the United States. And recently we have found that these are becoming endangered because people are catching them for pets. So what can we do to make sure that these guys live and all the ones around you? So I'm using some graph paper here today. You can use whatever you want, but I also have some recyclable materials. I found some Legos. I am going to draw and design and build a habitat that I'm going to share with you, but I want to hear your ideas first. So Heather, I was going to put you to work now because we're going to see who would like to share What is their animal that they've researched? And do they have any ideas on how they're going to design the new habitat? So kids, you may raise your hand. You may ask your teacher if you can come up to the screen. Our idea now is, what is the animal you're going to choose? And what ideas do you have for those brand new habitats that you're going to build? I see lots of hands up. Let's see if Miss Heather can find all of those.
I see you in Miss Koogman's room. Do you want to share first?
Okay, go ahead, Alexa.
So my animal that I've chosen is a
The
gray
camera.
wolf because I saw it on a website and I really do like wolves. So I wanted to make a habitat. I wanted to make a snowy forest because that's what I feel like wolves would be in.
So where are you located today? Like, where do you live?
Stamford, Connecticut.
So in Connecticut. So are you near any woods?
Yes, we are.
Perfect. So you have sort of a model, if you will, of how you would build your habitat. Are you going to, what type of materials are you going to use for your prototype?
Paper, cardboard.
Yeah, shoebox, paper, cardboard, maybe some things from outside, like twigs or stuff.
Great. So you're sort of recycling what you already have to build your prototype. I can't wait to see the design for that one. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Would someone in Miss Harris's room like to share? I see a lot of hands up.
I forgot it already.
Go ahead, Adlin, come here. Move Grant. Adlin, make room for Adlin. Pull your mask down, darling. Look in here. Tell him your name
Hi, my name is Adeline,
and your animal
and my animal is a prairie dog.
and the
A
habitat.
prairie
The
dog.
habitat will be like kind of like a forest, maybe. Oh, yeah, no.
Adeline, have you ever seen a prairie dog in real life?
No,
You know me.
So where are you researching this? Did you find it in a book or on the computer?
on the computer.
Nice. And what materials are you going to use for your prototype?
Like some green confetti for the grass and like a brown crayon for the trees.
Very nice. We can't wait to see what you create.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. And I see someone in Ms. or Mr. Judkins' room.
My name is Autumn, and my animal is a red panda. And I'm going to make a tree.
Autumn, have you done any research? Where do red pandas live? I'm not sure.
I forgot.
That's okay. That's a great answer. So I know you'll do a little research on that. So you're going to create a tree habitat for them?
Yes.
Okay. And what supplies will you use, Autumn?
Green paper, leaves, and a stick.
Very nice. And I like that you're trying to make it authentic looking by coloring it or having the green and using leaves already. Can't wait to see what you create, Autumn.
Thank you.
Wonderful. And someone in Miss Shedblower's room? I'm sorry if I'm not saying that right.
You were close, Miss Shuttlebauer.
All right, thanks.
Okay, so which animal?
Our animal is the Florida panther, and we were doing some research on it, and they're endangered because mostly they're getting hit by cars because people are knocking down their territory, so they have to go find a new home. But we were thinking maybe they can make like overpasses. Have you seen those like overpasses passes with like only for animals, so they
Yes.
can go over like the highway easily.
Yes, so those are called wildlife crossings. And while you're working on the Florida panthers, you might want to even tackle the black bears of Florida, because they're also encountering the same problems. People are building in their areas and it's pushing them out, especially down in the Everglades and Biscayne National Park, where they try to protect them there, but people are going into their area and then they're dying because they're hit by cars. I can't wait to see what your creation is. And then we ought to reach out to the Florida Wildlife Association and share your ideas.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
And someone is waiting in Miss Pfeiffer's room.
My animal is a koala. And how it's endangered is because first there was a fire in their habitat, and there's also people cutting down trees where the koalas live.
Yeah, so stay up there just a minute. I want to ask you a question. So I saw those fires, especially a few years ago in Australia, and they were running all of the koalas out. And did you know, I saw a story where firemen, after they had fought the fire, were rescuing these koalas and holding them in their arms and moving them to other places. So that's a great idea. So we're going to help you reach out to the Australian Wildlife Refuge and see if you can share some of your ideas with them, because they want to protect those beautiful, cuddly little bears, those little koala bears. Thanks for sharing that.
Is there anyone else that would like to share?
Ooh. I see the hands going up.
Go ahead, someone in Miss Harris's room.
Okay, so your name.
My name is Levi.
Talk louder, baby.
My name is Levi.
And then to the name of your animal.
My animal is red werewolf.
The red wolf.
Ooh.
The red
Okay. And then what did you use for your habitat?
and I'll use for my habitat is grass and water.
So does the red wolf live near you?
Say no.
No,
Have you researched far enough to know where they live?
What is your animal? What did you research on that? Someone that did red wolf too. Where was its habitat? Where did it live?
the bush. The
Okay,
bush.
say it out loud. Someone said Mexico.
No, it's in the woods.
It's in the woods?
It's in the woods.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, so that's going to be interesting to see, because if they live in different parts of the world, your habitats might look different based on where they live. So we can't wait to see those ideas from Ms. Harris's class.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
And we do have someone else. We did have someone with their hand up from Miss Nishikwa's room. Do you still want to share?
Andrew.
Oh, see, the endangered animal I picked for this is a Peeping Clover. And well, their habitat is near like a sandy beach, but they built their nest on soft sand.
Can you tell me the name of your animal again? I missed that.
Oh, the animal I'm doing is a Peeping Clover.
Nice, nice. And I love that this is the first one I've heard that sort of lives near the sandy beach. So I can't wait to see that one.
One of the reasons I think it's being led to extinction is that people are coming so much to the beach and littering nearby the beaches, and those birds may think that there's probably some food in it, but they get themselves killed when they try to go look in there.
Right. So you're actually looking past just the habitat into the reasons that they may be becoming endangered or extinct. And we know that, go ahead.
Oh, and one of the reasons is that I think it's carbon footprint from the cars.
It could be. So those are two ways that our human impact is messing up life for these animals. So thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome.
Do we still have time for another one?
We sure do.
Great. So I see someone in Miss Koogman's room again.
Hi.
Nice.
My animal's the red wolf, and they live in northeast Carolina, and they live mostly in swamps and forests and wetlands and bushland, and they're going extinct because of mismanagement, illegal killing, and hybridization with coyotes. And there are approximately 241 left in the world.
That is true. And they're actually really near where we live. So that's very important to me and my husband and our family. If you can come up with a way to save these, because they are beautiful and people are enjoying just killing them, which is not a good thing.
I'm thinking about for them to put like fences around the area that they live in, so poachers can't kill them, and keep the coyotes away from them, because then there won't be any hybridization anymore.
Right. So we want to make sure we keep the coyotes and these red wolves apart. So the two jobs that you could actually have, one is the wildlife biologist, where you study the habits of the red wolf, but you could also go into the career of wildlife law enforcement. So once the fences have been created and the signs go up, if people break the rules, then you would be the person that would say, nope, you can't do that. And here's what's going to happen when you break the rules. So thank you for sharing that.
Okay, but there's already illegal killing because people are killing them illegally already. And there's already a law for it.
So we need to figure out how to get this going quicker, right? Because they're in danger right now.
I'm thinking of like these electric fences that only can work on human skin, because of the coyote fur can protect them.
Nice. Wow, this is a really great introduction to habitats from that classroom. The teacher, Miss Koogman, good job. I love the research that they're already doing. Miss Heather, why don't we try to maybe do two more?
Perfect. So how about someone that has their hand raised, Miss Lekvitz's room?
Go ahead, Michael. Stand in front of the camera. Move back a little bit. Okay, it's okay. Go ahead, Michael.
Can I ask the teacher to just repeat what he said? It was a little hard to hear.
Sure. The albino monkey.
Wow. And I love me some monkeys, right? So we want to take care of those. A lot of the problems with the monkeys, especially, are that they're being captured and used as pets. And once these monkeys come into a household, they're not in their environment anymore and they do not thrive. So that's a great one to work towards. Thanks for sharing that. Is there anyone else?
I do see a lot of hands still up in Ms. Judkins' room. Is there someone that wants to join?
My name is Megan, and my animal is a fox.
A fox? And what kind of habitat would you build for that fox?
A forest.
Okay. And do you have some materials you could use for that?
Yeah.
Okay. And have you done any research yet on your fox?
Mhm.
Do you know any facts that you could share with us?
Yeah. I know that foxes are endangered because some people hurt them and use them for food.
Okay. All right. Well, we can't wait to see what you create with that. So Heather, I'm just so excited about all these ideas. And in a perfect world, we would just spend the rest of the day and night listening to these ideas. But I want to share where we can have all of these ideas collected. So let's go back to the deck for just a moment. One of my favorite people in the world, Harriet Tubman. I love to read about her. I love to think about how brave she was and how strong she was, and also how she didn't give up when things were really bad. One of her quotes is, "Always remember, you have within you the strength, the patience, and the passion to reach for the stars to change the world." And we really believe that all of you guys have that same strength and patience and passion. So teachers, we're going to ask that if it's okay, we would love to know the end product of this.